All right, good morning, traders. Today is July 2nd, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your following me, my liking me, subscribing to my content. Everybody out there in digital land, podcast land, cyber land, thank you. Everybody that follows my content, leaves kind comments. Thank you, Bob Jordan. Thank you, Sarah, Kathy, Roasted. Appreciate it. I love it all. Everybody that shares and spreads the good word. Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate that. Let's get down to business here. Again, thank you all for being here. My SPY pivot this morning, 617.25. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. All of the Fab Five are still in daily uptrends. Diamond Dow made higher low, higher high, closing over a trap over the 17 EMA. SPY made an inside day. That's a lower high and a higher low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17. IWM made an outside day, closing over the trap over the 17. QQQ, FNGU made lower lows, lower highs, closing inside bullish traps over their 17 EMAs. SPY closed with a 2-hour uptrend. We like that. And a 10-minute flat consolidation. They just waffled back and forth across the 8 EMA there. Gold in a downtrend, but still consolidating up there in quadrant 4. Made a higher high and a higher low, closing over a bearish trap and over the 17 EMA. Silver still in a daily uptrend. Made a higher high and a higher low, closing under a bearish trap, but over the 17 EMA. USO in a daily uptrend still. USO made a higher high and a higher low, closing inside a bearish trap under the 17 EMA. UNG, always a disappointment there. In a daily downtrend, made a lower high and a lower low, closing under a bearish trap under the 17 EMA. US dollar index still in a downtrend. We like that. Closed near the 96.72 area. SPY max pain for today. That's for the options that expired today. That 415, those index options. All right, SPY max pain is 616 with a put to call ratio of about 1.5 puts for each call that expires today. All right, we got couple setting up here. We got FIVE, we got M-Chip, and we got EVLV right there. Let's take a peek at those real quick. Oh, want to remind everybody out there in podcast land, digital land, cyber land, Monday, July 7th, open house in the BYOB Trading Room. Everybody out there in podcast land, digital land, cyber land, you're all invited. I will leave a link in the description of the video. It's free to attend this open house. All you got to do is register. So I will leave the registration link inside the description of the video. If not, you can use your smartphone and scan this QR code, and that will take you right to the link, and you can get registered. We will send you credentials to get into the BYOB Trading Room for Monday morning. All right, so all you got to do is just get registered. It's that easy. All right, it's free. It's free to attend. All you got to do is register. Okay, open house Monday on the 7th. All right. Okay, what are we going to look at? Oh, yes, we were going to look at M-Chip, EVLV, and FIVE. Let's go take a peek at those real quick. All right. Let's go over here. Let's scoot out here to daily chart. Okay, M-Chip. All right, M-Chip looking ready to break out. Look at this green candle engulf. Okay, these 3 red candles right there got some nice consolidation looking ready to go higher in that grinder box right there. So M chip looking ready for a breakout. Clearing that red candle there is clearly a breakout. You can see they got a little wick up there yesterday. Looking for some follow through on this candle for M chip. Should take us up to 75 easily. All right, there's M chip getting ready for the breakout. FIVE, let's take a look at that one. Okay, FIVE, look at this consolidation through here. We've erased all of this price action that is the pullback from here down to there. And you can see now we're getting a green erases red event. See this right here? You're getting some green erasing the red right there. Okay, so green erases red, ready for a breakout to test this wick area. I think 140 looks good over here for the high, maybe 150. I think they got their eye set on 150. May take a while to get to 150. I think 140 is clearly in their sights for this week or next week. We'll see what happens. But FIVE starting to break out right now. Okay, so let's take those off. Okay, again, you got green erases red there. Last one, EVLV. Let's go ahead and pull that up. EVLV. You can see I started. Okay, so you got 5-day consolidation. They had a little breakout move here yesterday. They got rejected. They're still holding this area here. Okay, if they can recover this candle today, there's a chance we get a follow through on the breakout. We'll see what happens. All right, but they need to recover today. All right, so today needs to be a green candle, and they need to close it up over 626. All right, got to get up over 626. It's got to be a green candle. But you do have a 5-day grinder box, 6-day grinder box up there. All right, so look for that for a green candle today. Any green candle up over 626 or over 630 today looks fantastic. It's got to be a green candle. Got to get up over 630 today. Other than that, no dice. All right, there's EVLV. All right, and those are, you can see I starred them. All right, I starred and flagged them for our convenience. Okay, you can see I put a little star right next to it. Those are the ones that are kind of setting up. All these others are kind of in bullish uptrends, and these are in bearish downtrends. All right, in case you're wondering what all that means in there. All right, so let me move this back over here, and let's go take a look at SPY. And we'll look at it on the game plan chart. Okay, this is the game plan for this morning. All right, I like, we have a green erases red event. Okay, should price get up here over 618.70, that's green erases red. The pivot's 617.25. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. You can see price bouncing off the pivot right now. Okay, so over 618.70. All right, that would be a bullish green erases red event or entry over 618.70. We have a bearish red erases green entry underneath 615.90. All right. Under this is bearish. Okay, so if we get a downtrend that commences up here, I will probably enter for a short position underneath the pivot. Okay, it may start here, but once it gets underneath the pivot, I might jump onto that 10-minute downtrend. All right, that started up here. All right, but comes through the pivot, and I would look for it to break through the pivot here at 617.25. In other words, I wouldn't wait for the 615.90. All right, as my my bearish red erases green entry. Okay, if it starts up here 10-minute downtrend and goes through the pivot, I will probably pile onto it right as it gets through the pivot right here. Okay, so that's my plan. Same with the bullish side. If we get a bounce, okay, off of this area and we're coming back up through, all right, this would be my target for today if we get a downtrend. Okay, if this would be my first target, this would be my second target. Okay, if we get a downtrend. If price action bounces off of this or any of these and we start to head back up through the pivot on a 10-minute uptrend, again, I will look to jump onto that 10-minute uptrend as long as it's over VWAP, all right, is passing through the pivot here, all right. I will definitely take that. I won't wait for the green erases red entry up here at 618.70. I will get into that 10-minute uptrend before then, all right? Just letting you know. So I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I like it when the trend, all right, and the price candles are breaking away from VWAP, all right? I make a lot of money on those. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. Again, I like it when the trend or the trap, all right, that's the 3 and the 8, where the trap is breaking and the candles, all right, the price candles are breaking away from VWAP, all right? So I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP where the trap, all right, and the candles are breaking away from it. And I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP where the trap and the candles are breaking away from that. Okay, so that's what I like. I like today for options, I like 1 DTE Thursday options. On the multiple of 5, so, or increments of 5, you can see right here like 615, 620 would be my strikes, would be my preferable strikes. 620, 615, 610. Okay, I like Friday options most of the time. Today it's going to be Thursday because Friday we're closed, so I like Friday options. You got more open interest. More open interest equals higher liquidity. Higher liquidity equals tighter bid-ask spread. All right, so that's what I like. I like a tight bid-ask spread. I don't want a lot of slippage. All right, so I like the multiple of 5. All right, so like 620, 615, 610, 605. All right, I like those for my strikes because they tend to have more open interest on them. Open interest is important to me. Now, I like them $5 to $15 out of the money. All right. The reason I like them that way is because they're cheaper and offer less risk. Okay. So if I get a move against me, it's not as harsh as having 10 contracts where I'm in the money. All right. And having 10 contracts move against me while I'm in the money and I got a 0 DTE option. Okay, because when you go, if you want the best performing option, it's typically going to be the in the money 0 DTE option. All right, so if I had some of those, which are the best performing options, and I had 10 contracts and they moved against me, and some of these candles can sometimes be $1 wide, all right, or $1 in length. And something like that would cause me, if I had 10 contracts, probably over $1,000 worth of pain to the wrong side. All right. So again, that's why I choose the out of the money contracts, and that's why I choose them $5 to $15 out of the money. I'm willing to give up some of the performance in order to lessen my risk. In other words, to lower my risk. All right, so that's what I like, $5 to $15 out of the money. All right, that helps lower my risk. I know I'm not going to get the performance, but while I'm chunking up my account and getting it up there to a position where I can start trading 0 DTEs that are in the money, this helps me to build it up. All right, that helps me build it up so that I can trade those high performance options. All right, so just saying that's how I think, that's how I trade. All right, I like them, again, out of the money until I get my account chunked up. Okay, so now you can see we're getting a little breakdown. We'll see if they can close a candle below the pivot. If they can, looking for a breakdown. We'll see what happens. All right, so it's 8:15. Let's take a look at the 10-minute chart on a different one right here. Let's take a look at that on this game plan area right here. You can see for the 10-minute chart, you can see nothing but consolidation. See how price, the 3 EMA crosses under the 8, over the 8, under the 8, over the 8, under the 8. So it's consolidation up over VWAP into the close. All right, so 10-minute, we're flat, consolidating up into the close on the 10-minute chart. On the 2-hour chart, all right, if we look at this, the 3 EMAs up over the 8 EMA, so we got nice bullish trap going on there. You have a 2-hour uptrend coming into the close. On the daily chart, okay, we put in an inside day. So lower high, higher low, closing over the bullish trap and closing over the rising 17. That's bullish. Okay, anytime you're closing over the trap, over the 17, that's bullish. Remember, not yesterday, but the day before, we made new all-time highs. Okay, you can see we're up over a prior all-time high anchored VWAP. All right, we're up here in quadrant 4. That's bullish. We're making higher lows and higher highs. That's bullish. We had consolidation over prior consolidation. Of course, that's always bullish. All right, and now you got a breakout. Okay, we got some bullish gap ups right here that have not been filled by the bears. All right, so whenever you see price bullish gap up that's not filled by the bears, that's a clue. All right, that's a clue that the market is bullish, that the bulls are in control. All right, bullish gap up, not filled by the bears, is a bullish clue. All right, so look for a continuation of this move up. All right, everything's been moving higher. So there's SPY on the daily chart. Okay, that's bullish and in an uptrend. Let's take a look at. What else do I like? My favorite, my favorite scenario. All right, is 10-minute uptrend over VWAP inside of a 2-hour uptrend. Okay. So I like that 10-minute uptrend that's inside a 2-hour uptrend, all right, or above it, or above it, okay, that's inside of a daily uptrend, okay, all right, that's inside of a weekly, look at this, uptrend, okay, that's inside of a monthly uptrend, all right, that's over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's the pink line right here. So you can see this made a lot of money on these. Why? Because I played 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. All right? That were inside of 2-hour uptrends. See the 2-hour uptrend? That was inside of daily uptrends. All right? See the daily uptrend? All right? That's inside of weekly uptrends. See the weekly uptrend? That was inside a monthly uptrend that's over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That is my favorite. For me, that it doesn't get any better than that. Everything is stacked up and lined up. That's like having the wind in your sails, okay? The wind at the aft, all right? Where it's just pushing you, all right? You got no headwinds. Everything is behind you and pushing up and forward, all right? That's the perfect, for me, that's the perfect environment to be long, all right? 10-minute uptrends over VWAP that are inside of 2-hour uptrends, all right? And that it's inside of a daily uptrend, inside of a weekly uptrend, inside of a monthly uptrend, all over the all-time high anchored VWAP, all right? That's, for me, that's the perfect environment to be trading long. It doesn't get any better than that. It really doesn't. And then on top of that, you've got all these bullish clues, bullish gap up, all right, showing you that bulls are in control. Weakness on the bears' part in the fact that they're unable to to fill a bullish gap up. You got consolidation over prior consolidation, showing you that the bears are unable to push it lower. These are all bullish clues, bullish environment. I want to stay bullish. Look, I'm going to be bullish till it's not. Okay? And when it's not is when price is underneath the 17 EMA. Okay? I'm bullish until it's not. All right? As long as price stays over the 17, I'm bullish. All right? I like SPY. I like trading SPY. All right? I'm bullish until it's not. All right? They can move to the right. I don't care how long they move to the right. That's fine too. All right? Just don't come down underneath the 17. Now, eventually the 17 is going to catch up with it up there, and I would hope it goes a little bit higher. We'll see what happens. All right? There'll be times when price does challenge the 17 like it did here, and then you can see it turn around and reverses course and starts going up. All right? So there's SPY on the daily chart. Okay, right now it's a perfect environment. 10-minute uptrends over VWAP, inside 2-hour uptrends, inside of daily uptrends. Remember, the trend is your friend. All right? Picking tops and bottoms, that's hard to do. All right? Jumping in on a trend that's already existing, like you got this 2-hour uptrend right here. Okay? Jumping in on that trend, that's easy to do. Oh, pull back, buy it. Pull back, buy it. Pull back, buy it. You got the 2-hour uptrend here. This is a beautiful thing. This is easy to trade. Okay, buy the lows, sell the highs. Okay, this is very easy. All right, it's hard when it's choppy, or you want it to go long, but instead price is moving down. Okay, so price right now kind of consolidating these last couple of days. You can see kind of relatively flat up there. We'll see. Hopefully they can hold the higher ground and have a breakout. There's SPY. All right, let's take a look at QQQ. I'm going to go to QQQ. I'm going to go to the game plan. It's the same thing as SPY, okay, on the game plan. All right. Again, I like Thursday 1 DTE options, all right, because Friday we're closed, all right. I like 9 DTE options on Friday, okay. Lots of open interest. I like the multiple or the increment of 5, okay. So like 550, 555, 545, 540, okay. I like them. The same thing, $5 to $15 out of the money. Again, I'm willing to give up some performance to take on a little less risk. Again, I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. We're the trap, okay? On the 10-minute chart, that's the 3 and the 8. All right, where that bullish trap is peeling away from VWAP along with the price candles, okay? I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP where that trap and the price action candles are peeling away from VWAP. Okay, I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. All right, again, where the trap and the price candles are peeling away from VWAP. All right, 10-minute downtrends under, 10-minute uptrends over. Got a bullish green erases red entry right up here over 550.25. Got QQQ pivot 557.75. Above it I'm a bull, below it I'm a bear. Bearish red erases green entry down here underneath 545.30. And they're getting there fast. You can see it in pre-market. All right, so if they start closing candles under there, I'll be looking for a bearish move. Okay, back down here to fill that bullish gap and test this anchored VWAP right there. Okay, so there's QQQ, 10-minute chart. All right, let's take a look at it on the daily chart. Right here on the daily chart, what do we have yesterday? Got to zoom in. Okay, lower high, lower low, closing inside a bullish trap. Okay, that's bullish. Over the 17, that's bullish. Up in quadrant 4, that's bullish. That's a new all-time high, okay, on Friday. Okay, yesterday, no. That was on the 30th, okay, so that was on Monday, new all-time high for QQQ. Not Friday, it was Monday. Okay, you're over the uptrend line, that's bullish. You're over the all-time high anchor VWAP, that's bullish. You're making higher highs. New all-time high, doesn't get any more bullish than that. So there's QQQ on the daily chart. That's still bullish. That's still in an uptrend, all right? Notice the 17 is not broken there. Okay, FNGU, same deal, all right? Lower high, lower low, closing inside a bullish trap. That's bullish over the 17. That's bullish. Again, on Monday, you can see new all-time high for FNGU, taking a rest today. All right, after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days up. Yeah, rest is necessary sometimes. Okay, up over the all-time high anchored VWAP and over the uptrend line. You can see the nice consolidation price moves up and consolidates over the right for about 15, 20 days, maybe about 12 trading days right there. And you can see price action breaking out of that consolidation. I'd be looking for the same thing to manifest up here. Okay, probably consolidate over prior consolidation, hold that higher ground, and then break out again. We'll see. All right, so there's FNGU on the daily chart. That's bullish. That's in an uptrend. Let's take a look at IWM. IWM puts in a new rally high yesterday. Okay, new rally high. Okay, this is from the beginning of April, April 1st. Okay, all the way up here. Okay, new rally high for IWM. That's bullish. Okay, not quite in the upper third. Okay, so still neutral through here. Again, you go down, you give it up. That's neutral. Same thing, you go up and you give it up. That's neutral. Okay, price action. Outside day. Okay, higher high, lower low. Closing over the bullish trap. That's bullish. Over the 17. That's bullish. Over all-time high anchored VWAP. That's bullish. Not in the upper third, not in the lower third, just neutral through here, okay? Definitely making a new rally high so you know it's in an uptrend. Higher low, higher high, here's a high, there's a higher high. That's an uptrend. All right, so we got, let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Diamond Dow, new rally high made yesterday. IWM yesterday, new rally high. Okay, look at Diamond Dow. This is the all-time high right here. Okay, they're not far from knocking on the door of that all-time high up there. Look at the price action. Closing over a bullish trap. That's always bullish when you're moving up. Okay, closing over a rising 17. That's always bullish. Closing over the all-time high anchored VWAP up in quadrant 4. Again, you move down and you give it up and more. All right, that's bullish. All right, look at price move from this low to this high and consolidate for looks like about a month and a half right there. Now you're getting a breakout up here into quadrant 4. That's bullish. Diamond Dow. Okay, uptrend, higher low. See the low, higher low. See the high, higher high. That's an uptrend. Diamond Dow on the daily chart. Take a look at our technicals. All right, today we bounced into the buy. Yesterday we bounced into the buyer's chop zone. You can see we made a higher low. All right, which should inspire bulls to make a higher high, and they did. See, there's a high. They made a higher high, and we camped out in the overbought zone all day. I mean, we flew airborne over the buy zone like a drone, like a hang glider, all the way into the overbought zone, and then we camped out in the overbought zone all morning, all afternoon, all day long in the overbought zone. T2123. Okay, look at this. Green from the beginning to the end of the day. Looks like we got one tequila shot red candle right there. Okay, so looks like they wanted to start the evening hour sooner, but almost green from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. Again, they started their evening festivities early with looks like one tequila shot there. Okay, so up price action up over that prior all-time high. Look at this, up over the rising 200 SMA. That's the red line here. Look at price making, here's a low, making a higher low. There's a high, making higher highs. That's an uptrend. T2123, that's an uptrend. Okay, got to get it up to this line here, and then they could make a daily uptrend. Okay, so they're moving up, holding the higher ground, moving up, holding the higher ground again, moving up. Okay, T2123, 15-minute chart, bullish, up over 200 SMA. All right, let's take a look at the 3-bar chart. Okay, 3 more green candle bars right here. Okay, look at the space opening up between the 17 EMA and the price action candles up there, or the data candles. Okay, up over this flat 200 SMA, that's bullish as long as you're moving up. Okay, you're up over the prior all-time high 1, prior all-time high 2, and this is the all-time high up there. Okay, they're in an uptrend, all right, because they got a high there, all right, and a high there, and look, they're making higher highs. They have a low here and a higher low, higher high. That's an uptrend. Okay, so T2123. On the daily chart, okay, this would be the, we're still in a downtrend, all right, but here's news flash, we're not moving down. Okay, we're in a downtrend because we haven't made a higher high yet. Okay, but guess what? We're not moving down. Okay, so if we take out this high right here, all right, we will negate the uptrend. We will negate the downtrend right there. Got to take out that high right there. Get up over those price action candles right there. That's on the daily chart. Okay, we're in a downtrend. We just crossed the 200 SMA. That's huge right there. All right, cross the 200 SMA. Hopefully we can consolidate on top of it. Okay, on the daily chart. All right, we were back on the 3-bar chart right here. Okay, that's bullish. That's in an uptrend. Daily, not quite yet. This is a pullback in a downtrend right now. If they make a higher high, they negate the downtrend and convert the uptrend. Okay, there's T2123. FNGU, okay, this is the this was the problem yesterday. Okay, the bulls took the day off. Okay, obviously you got selling from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. See the red 17 EMA right there from beginning to end of the day. But we're up over this 200 SMA. That's bullish. I don't like they're flaking out now. Maybe it looks like they want to pull back. They're ready to pull back to trend line right here. So possibly ready to pull back to trend line and this all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, here's FNGU on the 15-minute chart. We're still bullish. All right, we're making higher lows and higher highs. Okay, we're up over the 200 SMA. That's bullish. Okay, we may get a pullback. All right, we may make a lower low right here. All right, that's possible. But we need is the bulls to come in and recover it after making the higher low or the lower low right through here. All right, so watch FNGU looking ready to have a pullback to this consolidation right there. Okay, should be a bounce right there. A lot of bullish gap up on FNGU. Got one right here, never filled by the bears. You got another one right here, never filled by the bears. You got another one right here, never filled by the bears. This one was filled by the bears. See that? That one got filled by the bears. This one was not. This one was not. This one was not. Okay, so we're still bullish. All right, up over this 200 SMA. We'll see if they can hold that. Okay, so there's FNGU on the 15-minute chart. All right, let's go back to a few sectors. First one, XLE. Okay, XLE, you can see price moves up, gives it up. That's neutral. Price moves down, gives it up. That's neutral. All right, we're making higher lows and higher highs. We're in an uptrend. Okay, we're underneath We're underneath downtrend line 1, but we're above downtrend line 2. All right, so that's neutral. Price action, you can see yesterday, closing inside a bearish trap. That's a little bit bearish. Closing underneath the 17, that's a little bit bearish. Okay, again, you can see we're not over the all-time high anchored VWAP. We're under the midpoint, all right, of the quad lines. All right, so that puts us on the bearish side of the quad line. So we're just neutral, all right, because we're still in that uptrend, all right? Not in the lower third, not in the upper third, just neutral through here, XLE. Let's take a look at USO. This is crude oil, petroleum fund. You can see price moves up, geopolitical concerns, and then gives it up, okay? So that's neutral. Again, they move down and give it up. That's neutral. Price action over this 3-year high anchored VWAP right here. That's the pink line. Okay, so we're just neutral through here. Okay, we're still in an uptrend because we haven't made a lower low yet. All right, but if they take out, see this low right here? They take out that low or this low, that puts them in a downtrend. All right, so there's USO. Just neutral through here, okay? Just neutral and showing a bear flag. All right, so that's a bear flag. Move down and over to the right. Okay, so next move could possibly be lower, maybe down to this area here, okay? Not in the lower third, not in the upper third. Neutral, but still in an uptrend right now. In an uptrend, but here's the secret, they're not moving up. Okay, they might be in an uptrend, they're just moving to the right. They're not moving up. They're actually in a bear flag. Okay, so there's USO. UNG. UNG's in a downtrend. Here's a low. They made a lower low. You can see right here. Price candle, lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap. See the bearish trap, the 3 EMA underneath the 8 EMA. All right, bearish closing under the bearish trap, under the falling 17, that's the red dots, under the uptrend line. Okay, you can see that here's the quad lines. They're down in quadrant 1. That's bearish. Again, in the lower third, that's bearish. Showing a head and shoulders pattern. Left shoulder, right shoulder, all of that's the head. Okay, so UNG downtrend and bearish right now. So don't know how low they're going to go. Maybe they go challenge the prior all-time lows. We'll see what they want to do. All right, so they're under the uptrend line right there. There's UNG. Let's take a look at precious metals. Gold's in a downtrend because they made a low here, and then they made a lower low. All right. Yesterday's candle, higher low, higher high. Okay, they closed over the bearish trap. They closed over the flat 17. That's bullish whenever you do that. Closing over the bearish trap and over the flat 17. They closed above the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's also bullish. Closing over the bearish trap, over the 17 and over the all-time high anchored VWAP. But still got that downtrend label attached to it. But let's face it, they're not moving down, they're moving back up right now. Gold up in quadrant 4, that's bullish up there, currently showing an inverse head and shoulders, with this being the head. This would be the right shoulder, this is the left shoulder. All right, let's take a look at silver. Silver's in an uptrend. Silver is moving up and holding the higher ground. We love that, okay? Anytime price moves up and holds the higher ground, we love that, okay? What we don't like is move up and give it up, okay? What we like is price to move up, hold the higher ground. That means we don't have to give up our position, okay? That's why we like it. You got a bullish move up, we don't have to give up our position because it's holding the higher ground. And typically after that, there comes another move higher. So we'll see what happens, but price holding this higher ground up here in quadrant 4. Okay, we got a low, we made a higher low. We got a high. We made higher highs. So we're in an uptrend and we're holding the higher ground. Up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish. This is over a 12-year high anchored VWAP right there. That's the pink line. This is a 12-year high right up there, okay? It's very important that price move up and hold the higher ground. That's very bullish. All right, whenever you can see price consolidate near the highs, 12-month high, 12-year high, all-time high. Okay, that's very bullish. Very bullish. All right, so silver in an uptrend and holding the higher ground, that's bullish up there in quadrant 4. All right, let's take a look at SMH. Okay, up here, quadrant 4. Okay, attacking the all-time highs. That's bullish. All right, up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's the pink line, quadrant 4. That's bullish, moving up, way up over the 17. Closing in the bullish trap and over the 17, a rising 17. That's bullish. Okay, XLK. Okay, made a new all-time high on Monday. Okay, doesn't get any more bullish than that. Closing in the bullish trap and over the 17. All right, making new all-time highs. That's bullish. Didn't make it yesterday, but that's bullish way up there. Okay, if they give it up, that will be neutral. All right, but they'd have to bring it all the way down here to give it all up. Okay, XLK, that's bullish. XLF. XLF made a new all-time high yesterday. Okay, it doesn't get any more bullish than that. New all-time high. Okay, new all-time high for XLF. IYT, new rally high for IYT. Look at price move up, consolidate over to the right. Kind of a real sloppy hold there. But finally moving up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Hold for 5 days, and guess what? Pretty much rewarded with a breakout. It's in the upper third. That's bullish. Making higher highs. Obviously, it's a new rally high. So that's an uptrend. IYT. So you got transports, financials, semiconductors, and technology. All in bullish uptrends. Okay? All in bullish territory. All over all-time high anchored VWAPs or making new all-time highs. Okay, we've got the perfect environment for a robust rally. Perfect environment. All of this at the same time. Again, you've got 10-minute uptrends inside of 2-hour uptrends, inside of daily uptrends, inside of weekly uptrends, inside of monthly uptrends, over the all-time high anchored VWAP, okay? This is the environment for robust rallies, all right? Just saying. And then on top of that, we got a lot of stuff in the pipeline, all right? We could have peace between Israel and Gaza. That would be nice. We could see peace between Ukraine and Russia. That would be nice. If people could stop killing each other, we could open up markets, start selling goods and services again to some of these people. All right, maybe if Pakistan and India would do the same. Again, all of this, peace brings on open markets, okay? So we got that. Then we got the big, beautiful bill. That'll definitely inject some money into the economy, big, beautiful bill. All right, that is in the pipeline. What else do we have in the pipeline? Rate cuts. Rate cuts are on the table, okay? They were on the table last month, but we didn't quite get the data for it, okay? So we got rate cuts are on the table, okay? We got trade deal negotiations, all right? Are we going to have tariffs or are we not going to have tariffs? Okay, wouldn't it be nice to find some free trade, okay, between our neighboring countries and between our allies? That would be really nice. You don't charge us, we don't charge you, all right? That would be a beautiful thing. So we got a lot of things in the pipeline that could get us to SPY 650, okay? A lot of it, all right? Kind of hot right now. Maybe we need to cool off and consolidate. I wouldn't be surprised if we begin to consolidate until some of the new stuff comes out in the pipeline, all right? Some new stuff like peace or some trade deals, or I think we're close on the big beautiful bill. Some good news is all in the pipeline here, injecting into the economy. That would be nice, all right? So transports, uptrend, bullish, okay? Technology, bullish. Usually the leader in almost all of our rallies is technology, okay? Again, bullish and in an uptrend, all right? And then in the financials, hey, look, when the markets are making new all-time highs, it's difficult for the financial, especially investment banking, to not make new highs as well. Okay? If the markets are making new highs, there's a good chance that the financials are probably in making new highs as well. Okay? It's hard for them not to because they're the makers of the new all-time highs. All right? They actually are the ones to say, no, it's worth more. All right? In other words, due to the last inflation, price of this stock, we're bringing in more earnings, and therefore it should be rewarded with a higher price point. Okay? So they're the ones, the analysis, the investment banking. All right? It's hard for them not to be bullish if, all right, the indexes are making new all-time highs. It's almost impossible. All right? So there we are. We've got the three major components of a robust rally. It's the transports, the financials, and the tech sector, okay? All looking in bullish uptrends, looking ready for a really nice, robust rally, okay? Transports just got on board, okay, just recently. They were bullish up here, holding the higher ground, but let's face it, they weren't in the upper third like they jumped into yesterday, okay? So we still could see some more upside coming. Again, I have 620, I have 625, I have 650 for my SPY targets. We'll see what happens, all right? Let's take a look at the plan. Here we are with consolidation. This is our journey up to new all-time highs. Where are we in our journey? All right, let's map this out. Let me clear off some of this. Okay, so this never happened, so we'll cover that up right there. Okay, and then we'll get the gold arrow out. All right, and I'm looking for price right now. Okay, we had the pullback to 605, and then we ripped, and we're almost to 620. All right, we're like 618, 619. Okay, we're almost to 620. Now, whether it's we've been up to 619 2 or 3 times. It makes me feel like they're going to go through 620. All right, so I think maybe 625 should probably be our new target, all right? I'm just saying they've been up to 619 several times. Just to get past 619, only to tag 620 doesn't make sense anymore. It makes more sense for us to go through 620 right on up to 625, all right? I'm just saying that. So here we are with the game plan. All right, and we've been trading this and making money trading the map. Okay, again, price is not going to move in a straight line. Okay, it's going to waffle around a bit on its journey up to the next targets. Okay, it'll pretty much stay in between the channels. It'll waffle around in the channels, but all in all, look for price to come down here, move up there, create the W pattern, little battle, and then breakout. All right. Again, we got more stuff in the pipeline. I foresee 625, maybe even 650. Okay, it's looking good. Nothing's falling apart. Let's take a look at our economic data. All right. Start with the dollar. All right. Falling dollar. Dollar's in a downtrend. Okay. So when's the last time the dollar's been down here? Hey, way back in 2022. This is a 3-year low for the dollar. All right. Whenever we have a cheap dollar, that's great for our goods and services that we sell overseas. Excuse me, because it makes that conversion rate a whole lot easier. All right. They have to convert their currency to ours in order to pay us for our goods and services. So having a weak dollar makes us more competitive in the global marketplace. All right. Because we're not just competing against ourselves. We're competing against other companies that manufacture the same goods and services, okay? So, I mean, we could be competing against the Chinese or the Japanese, maybe even the Japanese, maybe even Norway. Could be anybody, all right? And the idea that we have a cheaper dollar helps us to get that sale, to get that service, all right? To get that contract, all right? To sell our goods and services to other countries or to companies in other countries that need it, all right? So that makes it easier for us, all right? Having a weak dollar, all right? Now, for a consumer, that sucks, all right? Because a weak dollar means everything's going to cost us more, okay? Because the dollar's weak, so it's going to cost us more dollar bills, all right, to purchase the same goods and services. So as a consumer, it sucks, but as an investment banker, it's fantastic, okay? Or an investor, okay? Because a weak dollar opens up new markets. When we get new markets, okay, you get more revenue, all right? If you can sell to that market, more revenue equals what? Usually transcends down to the bottom line equals more profits. More profits means what? A higher share price, okay? You get more money for that share because it's worth more now. It's making more profit, all right? So for investment, we like a weak dollar. You can see, all right, we're at a 3-year low, and you can see where price action, all right, has broke major support right through here, okay? So we're in a bear flag. Price moved down and over to the right. Notice we got minor resistance. We broke major support. So we got minor resistance up here. We tried to test it and get through and hold above it. And we went up and gave it up. Okay, that's bearish. Or neutral if you go up and give it up. But no, we went up, gave it up, and then more. All right, so that's bearish. Right, in a bear flag, this is a beautiful thing. Have a weak dollar, especially for investors, because that opens up new markets. Okay, so there's a dollar in a downtrend. All right, let's take a look at Max Payne for today. Max Payne for today, 616. Okay, that's for the options on the SPY that expired today. Put the call ratio 1.479. So basically 1.5, 1.5 puts to every call that expires today. Okay, Max Payne, 616. Let's take a look at economic calendar. Actually, let's just do earnings. Okay, earnings, you can see maybe some familiar names, nothing that's going to move the markets today. Financials are due to report, I think, on the 15th or sooner, or maybe right around the 15th. So we got a whole new earnings coming out again here soon. So, and the financials are looking good. They're making new all-time highs. So evidently the market's liking this. And why wouldn't they? You got the indexes making new all-time highs. The financials are probably going to be moving up right into that earnings report that comes out around the 15th around the 15th. Okay, so nothing happening Thursday, Friday, we're off. All right, economic calendar. Okay, today's Wednesday. You can see motor vehicle sales sometime this morning. MBA mortgage applications at 7. Challenger job cut 7:30. ADP employment at 8:15. You saw a little whack out there on the price action. Petroleum report, 10:30, and that's it. Okay, Mr. Powell spoke yesterday, and like I said, it's probably going to be null and void, all right, because he's powerless until he can figure out what Mr. Trump is going to do for tariffs, okay? You can't be cutting rates and then have artificial inflation through tariffs, all right? So he probably can't even do the rate cut that he wants to do, all right, because we still don't have any trade deals completed and signed yet, all right? So that's that. That happened Tuesday, and you can see not much happened. We just consolidated more to the right. Actually, some days, some of us made new all-time highs, like the financials yesterday, okay? On Thursday, this is the main event this week, is the employment situation that comes out on Thursday. And by the way, Friday we're closed. Again, and we'll be closing at 1 o'clock early. You can see NYSE closes at 1 on Thursday, okay? Employment situation at 8:30. That will be a market mover, all right? But I really don't expect a bad number to come out. I really expect something good to come out of the employment situation, all right? It's been a lot. So everyone seems to be working. That means they'll be spending money. That's fantastic for the economy, all right? So I see a really good number possibly coming out, again, on the employment situation for 8:30. It's tomorrow, okay? International trade goods and services, 8:30. Jobless claims, 8:30. PMI composite final, 9:45. Factory orders, 10. ISM services index, 10 o'clock, and a gas report that normally comes out on Friday has gotten pushed over to Thursday because we're closed Friday, 10:30 on Friday. Okay, again, we close at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Short day tomorrow. Nice 3-day weekend for all of us. That's a beautiful thing. All right, I welcome that. All right, so just to let you know, I trade the futures at the same time as I trade my my options. All right, so I do two things at the same time. All right, and I'm just saying, if you're into futures, all right, you can hang out in the room here and benefit by trading futures right alongside us inside the options as we trade the index. All right, I'm just saying if you want to do that. It's up to you. All right, but I'm just saying if you want to do that. All right, so I trade futures at the same time. All right, so that's it for me for this morning, okay? I'll see you guys all in about, 30 minutes, and we'll open up the markets. Let me get this video rendered, and I'll see you guys in about 30 minutes, okay? And Jim shared the non-farm employment change. Got a change, minus 33 versus, doesn't look bad, really. Yes, Chip, QQQ. Pivot should be, thank you, Chip. 10-minute chart. Yes, says it should be 547. Thank you, Chip. All right, got that fixed. I got to take another picture of that. All right. All right, guys, I'll see you all in about 30 minutes.